Good afternoon, good evening, this is John Paul Rai. I'm coming to you from Tokyo, Japan. First of all, I want to thank all the new subscribers. Channel's been growing a little bit over the last month. And I do some slideshows here. I'd rather not. I'd rather just do all live action videos, but I can't always do that. I don't always line up slideshows with exactly what I'm saying, because if it's about something like Rose Tico, like this video, I don't want to show pictures of Rose Tico and The Last Jedi and things like that anyway. So, I'm going to get in today what I don't want to see in episode 9, which is obviously Rose Tico, because if you guys have been following me, you know I'm not on the fence about a boycott. If anyone wants a boycott, that's totally cool. What I'm saying is if the movie happens to be really good, then that boycott kind of loses meaning because we don't really have a lesson to teach them. The lesson to teach them is if you make shit movies, we're not going to pay to see it, but if they listen to us and it's good, then there's less of a meaning. But my point is, if Rose Tico was going to be in The Last Jedi, it makes me think that I don't even really want to go in a movie theater and see Rose Tico anyway. She's that bad. It's, again, like Jar Jar Binks, where in episode 2, you didn't even want to go in the theater and see Jar Jar Binks. I saw episode 1. It was one of my least favorite Star Wars movies. It had a few good things to it. I've been through that. But the point is, Jar Jar was one of the worst things, I think, agreed almost across the board. And I did not want to see him in episode 2. Thank goodness George Lucas heard the cries of the fans. He took him out of episode 2. The first 10 minutes or something of the movie, you see Jar Jar just say hello and goodbye, and that's it. So I'm hoping we get a real similar thing with Rose, where like she comes in for a minute and hopefully just dies. I'll just say it. I think she should just die. I mean, that would just be a fan service move, but I think that would be fine because I would enjoy seeing that. She comes in, she dies, she's gone. But if she spends any real good time in the movie, like 10, 15, even hopefully not 20 minutes of the movie, I don't even think I want to see that, no matter how good the rest of it is, because I just really dislike that character, and I'm not ashamed to say it whatsoever. Sometimes I kind of hold back a little bit. I think everybody does. I mean, if you're just going to go full out and say 100% everything you're exactly thinking, I think that's not really the best thing to do anyway in life. Like, you gotta at least kind of choose your words to a certain extent. But with something like Rose, nah, I just don't care. She's just terrible. And that brings me to Kelly Marie Tran, who I'm not so crazy about either. Now, some people might say, hey, don't attack the actress. It's not her, it's the character. I get that. In most cases, it is the character. Like in the case of Mark Hamill, it's the character. I like Mark Hamill, he's cool. In the case of Harrison Ford or Carrie Fisher, it's the character. They wrote the characters bad. But I really did not like Kelly Marie Tran's article in the New York Times, I think it was the New York Times, correct me if I'm wrong, where she kind of played the victim card, where she got kicked off Instagram or whatever happened there. No one actually knows the real story, and no one does know but her. And she said this. She said, well, I was in a restaurant and a waitress said I looked like a foreign exchange student, or called me out for being a foreign exchange student, or something like that. And I just don't think that's a big deal. I think she wanted people to read that article and be like, oh my god, that's horrible. Oh my god, the Instagram thing's horrible. And I live in Japan here. Over the last 13 years, I've taken a lot of shit for being a foreigner, making mistakes, not knowing things, looking a certain way. I've been called Tom Hanks and Tom Cruise. Well, Tom Cruise not that bad to be called. But the point is, I've been called actors' names by strangers and things like that, kind of poking fun of me. And you just kind of make fun of people back. You don't have to take it so seriously, like you're so heartbroken, like, oh my god. You know what? There are Asian exchange students in America. So what? Also, she claims she lived in California and grew up there, so I think she failed to mention what part of the US she was in, because if she was in, like, you know, the countryside or the middle of the US where there's like nothing but like fields of wheat or whatever, and there's just honestly not so many Asian people living there, then it wouldn't be like the dumbest assumption to think that she was from a different country starting in the States. And if it was in California, California's very diverse. She's not that old. I mean, California's been diverse for the last 20, 30 years, since the 90s, I guess. So you'd have to be a really stupid waitress to be living in California and have not seen an Asian person and think like they're a foreign exchange student or something. So that would be like a really exceptional exception, so to speak. I mean, a rare person would think that. It's not like every waitress that she went up to said, are you a foreign exchange student? I just didn't like her whole angle of playing the victim. So yeah, I can't hate her personally as much as I hate Rose. So, I'm not a big news guy. I do the news, I'll cover the news when important news comes out, I'll pitch in my opinion when I can, but I'm not really up to date as of with Rose Tico is going to be in 9, definitely or not. I don't see a reason why they would cut her completely, so I'm assuming she's going to be in 9 to a certain extent. Although there are a lot of characters that may point to the fact that her character time is going to get kind of pushed back, which is good. So before I close this video out, I just want to say one more thing about Rose, and that's this. If she was in a different context, if she had her own movie, if she wasn't in the saga, if she wasn't disruptive or something, I'd be less critical. But the fact that she's in part 2 of an important piece of the trilogy, it just really brings the whole thing down. So that's why I really don't want to see her in episode 9, because it feels like it'll just drag the movie down further than it might already be dragging itself down. We'll have to see about that one. Anyway, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I do shoutouts, I do special thanks, got a patron, got the whole thing set up. I will see you next time.